onto the Rift for game 1 of this best of 5 between Sleeping and Ferocity Esports. And I can see a couple of people in the crowd are sleeping as well, but hopefully this match will be exciting enough to wake them up.
I don't know, I think this early game is going to be fairly slow, and then we'll see maybe when the junglers get their first gank off. However, I thought something like that yesterday, and we saw a few solo kills early on, so chance they go for it. I wouldn't expect anything level 1, so you got a little time to kind of calm it down a bit.
Yeah, it's going to be standard start, the 4-point start. Nothing too crazy. And that's going to be pretty much standard for everybody. Or is it? As we see now a couple of people just hovering around this bot side. They've gotten in without anyone seeing them so far.
30 seconds until minions spawn.
This could be really dangerous. This could be actually a pretty smart move. You need to be so careful though.
Basically, Boob's just hanging out there, so should pick up any form of invade if they decide to go for it. Might be looking to see if Janna goes for a deeper ward and then catch her out.
This is so weird. It's just Janna like running around in circles. I don't know if they're going to go for it.
No.
It's going to be a bit risky if they end up going that path.
I don't think they're going to actually go in for it. I'd expect them to just try wait, maybe see if anyone's going to go ward try. I think that's what they're hoping, but it doesn't look like they're going to get that.
They're actually backing away.
Yeah.
Got to back away from that there. So I actually don't think they're going to go for it. They might go for late invade though. So that's actually probably a bit of a situation. And nope, they're going to back away.
Yeah.
I actually think that the Bloodraven bluffed them. He put up his champion mastery and they might have thought they were sitting on a ward. So I think he actually bluffed them perfectly.
Well, the fact is, they probably didn't want to go for the invade. They were waiting to see if they could catch anyone out as they went to ward. No one decided to go for deep wards, so no one ended up dying. Nice safe play from both sides, realistically.
Yeah, potential though. Good aggressive kind of potential. Again, I actually think if Bloodraven hadn't have flashed the champion mastery, they might have actually gone for a late invade because Janna is going to go with the Eye of the Storm level 1 as well to help Rek'Sai with the clear. So you're not going to have any kind of disengage available to your team. And that's going to be huge if you're going for a late invade like that. You could do so much damage and delay so much in that
Yeah,
jungle.
and the fact is, Brahms level 1 is very strong as well. One of the strongest of any support, only beaten out by Bard. So I suppose it could have worked out, but there's no need to take that risk. Start it off standard, especially in a best of 5. You don't want to start out so poorly, especially in the first minute.
True, but no risk, no gain. You know.
Yeah, but it's a mentality thing. You know, you want to keep
true.
it nice and calm at the start, and then slowly build up your lead, or at least not throw it at the very beginning.
I think that's more important. It's not throwing the game right at the start because we've seen Ferocity take advantages and just steamroll people with those advantages.
See already, Esper looking a lot more comfortable on this Trundle than the previous counterpart Kayn went into, so starting to bully out this Nautilus early on, see if it continues or see if Ember can pick up the pace.
Yeah, we did expect this though, so not too big of a deal that Ember is going to be struggling a tiny bit. We do see XJ though going for an early gang on top of Esperov. He pops down the Trundle pillar, but he's gotten flashed on. XJ picks himself up first blood. Nice start there for Ferocity.
And you see actually managing to out clear this Gragas, who's still stuck in that cap. He actually decided to do a full clear of that bot side, which is what made him so late. So when I was talking about those counter ganks, that would have helped there, but deciding to do that extra camp cost his top laner his life.
Yeah, it cost his top laner his life and his TP and his flash, so summoner advantage for Ember. He's going to go back and then TP back in, most likely.
Please don't finish that into a Bami Cinder. Please build Titanic Hydra.
I think the first item he's going to go for a Spectral Cow.
Yeah, I don't mind, just please not Bami Cinder again. That was so painful.
Please, no magic or no Armorino. But like, even if he builds a Spectral Crow into a Bami Cinders there, it's still pretty damn good. And we'll see what they want to go for. But the Trundle, despite getting invaded or getting pushed onto very early, XJ getting jumped on very, very quickly. He's going to go for the Wraith in the end, ends up going over to Curtis, but he's in a bit of a bad situation, forced to flash away. Ignite goes down, not quite able to kill him off. Flashing, uses it, nicely done there by Wolf. He picks himself up another kill. There's the red buff going over as well, and he gets Kevlar completely chunked out. Kevlar going to be forced to go back and then use the teleport back. So aggressive counter jungling really, really not working out for the side of Sleeping.
I don't know, it was one of the most passive, aggressive plays I've ever seen. He just kind of sat there without moving, trying to fight him, not realizing that Wolfie could clearly out-rotate the Lysandra, and then it was a free kill for them.
I think he just kind of focused, like he tunnel visioned on the Raptor so hard. He was like, I'm just going to counter jungle him and get out. And it was just like, wait.
I hope, is that pun unintended?
A little bit. Probably just a bit of my soul. Oh, here we go. XJ is so busy in this early game. Gets a double knock-up. Nicely done. Might actually pop another flash. One goes down. Pukang getting there's the exhaust. Forces the heal out. And then it's going to be summoners down in that bot side. Nice rotation there from Wolfie to really put down the pressure. And this is just really aggressive right now from the side of Ferocity. They are looking to end this game as soon as they possibly can.
They don't have a StarCraft game though.
No, that's they don't have a StarCraft game that they have to throw for. So but yeah, so super aggressive. Despite Ember possibly losing this matchup as well, it's not that big of a deal because everyone else in every other lane of his is winning. I wasn't going to go too ham. Oh, here we go though on the bot side. Basically, Boots has no mana. Force the flash. They use the heal off of Bloodraven as well. And then his summoner's down. Good gank there by Curtis, but he needs to come back and replicate that.
There's also a good disengage there by Janna, knocking him out of the body slam. Wasn't quite enough to not be able to blow the flash, but at least save Bloodraven comfortably. So they managed to walk away from that one without too much blown.
Yeah, first Drake going to be in Mountain. So they need to maybe put a little of emphasis on that. Both teams have got pretty decent tower siege. You got the Sivir and the Caitlyn for that kind of thing, with good engage coming out from both sides and disengage. So I imagine that when they hit about the 7-8 or maybe the 8-9 minute mark, they should be trying to aim for that objective, go for a little bit harder.
Yeah, and we'll see. Harder. I think definitely you'll want it on that Caitlyn for Ferocity, but the other side, it's less of a something you need and something you want to deny to the other team here. And here we go with Ember and XJ.
Oh, here we go again. Esperboss, you have no flash, and he's going to try and disengage, uses the subjugate, but by Wolfie now getting ganked himself, pops down the gravity field, going to actually stand up. Oh no, Kevlar! What was that? That was so poor. He flashes into a gravity field, brings the Chaos Storm on top of himself, and then just dies straight up. That was just a poor play, but in the end, no one on Ferocity yet to die, and they're the ones that are making the proactive moves, and XJ again in this looking for a play.
Yeah, that was one of the saddest body slams I've seen in a little while. Just body slamming straight into the minions, and then Lissandra got in and went, join me, please.
Yeah,
I'm already in.
Lissandra, I'm alone. But yeah, it was rough to say the least, and these are just advantages. That Victor is now 2-0, and realistically should be 1-1. Not the start you want for your mid laner, especially with Wolfie being so comfortable on this Victor.
Yeah, he's definitely one of the more comfortable standard champions that he plays. He also used to play a bit of Ryze. We haven't seen that out of this series, or this tournament even. I might see it later on. I think it doesn't really have such a great matchup into Lissandra, who's able to quickly lock up and get away, but might see it later on. The Lissandra's not picked up, but I don't imagine Ferocity want to change too much about their draft. I'd say they're fairly happy with what they got out of it.
I think, honestly, in the next game, we might actually see about 2 or 3 jungle bans, because right now, XJ he just dominates the map in that kind of pressure. Curtis is still doing a good job, but he's just executing it poorly, and that's the difference right now between the two sides.
Yeah, and I think, in fairness to him, he is actually keeping up in terms of farms, slightly ahead, even though XJ has made very aggressive moves into his jungle, so he has been in the right place, just struggling to execute in the ganks he does get, but he's in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, he's getting there. It just needs a little bit more finesse, just needs to try and get that little bit more kind of, execution.
Make the fat man dance.
Make the fat man dance and let his wife sing. We do see now Curtis forced off of his blue buff. He's going to have to back away. That blue buff still going down to XJ, but they have a lot of people collapsing on top of this. It ends up being stolen. And that's actually a pretty big steal there, because now they can give away their blue buff to Wolfie with no kind of consequence, because they can't really aggress on top of this. Kind of caught sleeping a little bit. They didn't, kind of go on top of this that quickly.
Yeah, I don't think they were expecting XJ in there at all. Using the Tremor Sense to its fullest and making sure you could wait until Gragas was on the camp, then jump on top of him, start putting a lot of pressure down. And Trundle, only just coming back from base, wasn't really in a position to actually fight with him. And Ember and Wolfie just slightly ahead in terms of the rotations here. And that's what we're seeing consistently. Ferocity seem to be on top of the map for sleeping.
I'm so proud of Esperboss, because he built a Spectral Cow.
He's also actually kind of winning the lane. It's XJ's winning this lane for Ember here, but overall, when it's the 1v1, you can see Trundle is, even with the slight edge that's been given to Ember, is still winning out. But okay, no gank?
Well, he was sitting on top of a pig,
Yeah.
so it was fairly well documented, it was very well seen, you know, well in advance.
You have the explosive cast. You can still absolutely try for that play. If he body slammed in, there was no real cost to it. Because if he body slams in, then lands the explosive cask, it could still be a kill. Or at least Summoner's Blown, but decided not to go for it. Not too sure why, but maybe just wasn't feeling safe, as you said, spotted out by a pink ward.
Well, again, not feeling safe, or maybe just not feeling confident, because we've seen a couple of times now that he's kind of gone for these engages with the body slams, and it just hasn't worked out. So honestly, if I was to be perfectly honest, he mightn't have felt super confident in his flash body slam.
Maybe we haven't seen actually an attempt at a flash body slam. We've seen a body slam into minions, but nothing so proactive as a flash body slam yet. This could be the fight that Esper Boss wants.
Yeah, Ember gonna be able to get away, I feel. Yep, just gonna use the dredge line and gets himself nice and safe. Has got the TP to get himself back to lane as well, but XJ is pretty much owning this jungle right now. He can just go on top of Curtis, but actually gets stolen away. He smited a little bit too early. Just get the buff, but no real win there. He didn't get the gold or the XP, so...
Yeah, I think it was just trying to put the pressure down. Still slightly ahead in terms of XP is the level up on this jungle here. And I think it's mainly due to, of course, the fact he's 1-0-1 versus the 0-1-0 Gragas.
Yeah, it's not a huge deal right now. It's only equating to about 600 gold, 700 gold, but it's still the mentality that you know that this jungler has been so much more proactive, has been doing a lot more than you have. And that's just something they need to be careful of. They need to be making sure that they're not, you know, too over exasperating in their own jungle, as well as kind of making sure that they know their limits.
Yeah, this top lane is really interesting because Esper Boss should be able to kill Ember, but what he's doing is he's accidentally leaving the wave pushing, and Ember's very patient player is very happy to just wait till he knows he can't be engaged on and not play too far up. You can see he's just playing as far back as he's willing to, and when he doesn't, he's easily getting chunked out for 3/4 of his health.
He's trying to see if they can do something now. There is no ward up on this top side, so they may actually just go for the Rift Herald. And that's actually a pretty decent buff that they go for. Trundle able to continue with that split push, put down the pressure, and continue with this kind of, you know, winning lane despite, you know, losing the early game of it.
Yeah, and also the fact Trundle's a big auto attacker, so really likes the corrupting buff. Also, of course, 5% decreased damage against, or 5% increased resistances against any enemy while he's alone is exactly what you'd want in this Trundle, who will probably be split pushing as the game goes on. So, see now, okay, XJ didn't have smite for that one.
XJ did not have smite. That was very, very dodgy. But they trade Rift Herald for the first Mountain Drake. Next Drake to come up will be, let's find out. It's going to be an Ocean Drake. It's going to jarringly push the directed camera over to that. But so good start for both sides, both trading objectives, and that's something we very rarely saw from other teams in this tournament, was the fact that yes, they went for Rift Herald, but the other team went for Mountain Drake, and that was something that they obviously called from the top lane. Yeah,
and also we tend to see that both teams would kind of wait, and then because of that, they'd have to have these massive fights over the objectives. This way, neither team's forced into that uncomfortable position where they have to dance around the objective. They can both get exactly what they want out of it, and both teams should be relatively happy with what they picked up there. Where you're talking about how the Caitlyn will want that Mountain Drake for the siege. It might be a fight here.
It might be a fight, or it might just be complete disengage. Oh, nicely done. Basically, Boobs just completely thwarting those ultimates from the side of Sleeping, and that was, again, what we talked about. The disengage, basically Boobs is very, very good on this Janna, so it's going to be hard to get those kind of engages off, you know?
Yeah, and we were talking about as well the fact that you kind of have to surprise the Janna if you're going to manage to get an effective engage off, and that was not surprising enough. You just ran straight at them.
Yeah, you just kind of went, and then nothing happened.
I hope that was actually what he was saying into his mic. Yeah. That's the team comms.
That's the call when you want Sivir, just go, That's what I've always wondered. I wonder why, like, Sivir just randomly screams when she wants people to go faster. It's like, it's just an intimidation thing.
I mean, she's like the leader of some desert tribe. I suppose not much going on in the desert.
You just have
some
to
war
scream.
Cry, yeah.
You just have to scream.
Break the silence, you know, get everyone riled up.
Oh, here we go, though. Esper Boss has got flash, uses something. Here comes the TP, though. That's going to be in reply. Honestly, they won't be able to get anything off of it, I don't think. XJ, though, going to try and get out of a good double stun. They use the depth charges as well. It's a 3v2 now as Ember getting chunked out. Good explosive cast means that Kevlar going to pick himself up a kill. Wolfie down the bot side, trying to make a play of his own. And this was the double TP that we talked about. Having that TP on your mid laner means they're able to make those plays happen. Very, very good counter engage.
Yeah, and I really wasn't expecting so much from them, and clearly Ferocity wasn't either. With Curtis coming up as well, it was a good rotation, and finally, Sleeping starting to put their own edge in this map control.
Yeah, good flash body slam as well, so they're starting to get back into it. It's only about a 700 gold lead, so that's actually not that big considering they have 3 kills. And this is something that we noticed from Sleeping, is that they're very, very, very good at just, getting the advantages or keeping even in the lanes. So very, very solid laning phase that they transition into usually very, very good team fighting, and that's what they're showing. They're actually giving a pretty decent run for their money for Ferocity, and I don't know. The double TP is pretty damn good. Even with despite they using Kevlar's TP, they still have the TP kind of advantage, or kind of equal advantage with Ferocity because they've got the second one.
I think equivalence is the word you're looking
Equivalent, thank you. I'm sorry.
Words are hard, man. It's been
words are hard.
It's been a long morning.
It was a long morning and it was a long night. And but yeah, that's the thing. So I don't know if Ferocity, because Wolfie with the Ignite isn't actually putting down any kill pressure.
Yeah, and I think, 2-0 to be fair, first off, but
2-0, that is true, but not
has also been making good map plays overall. Esperboss is putting down a lot of damage now, but you see as Ember is building up the tankiness, you generally want some form of damage on the Trundle, whether that be Iceborne or Titanic Hydra, one of those Juggernaut items, just so you can get the edge in this lane, because really hard to continue pressing your advantage as the tanks build up their resistances.
Yeah, very, very difficult, and going to be very interesting to see. CS pretty much even across the board, which is pretty damn rare to see at this stage of the game, considering we've seen so much action, so many TP plays and everything like that. So real good. Oh, bad dredge line means that Esperboss can continue on with this. Has got the Spirit Visage. Hasn't popped the Subjugate just yet. Just going to keep putting down some decent pressure though. Bloodraven, here we go. It's going to be 2 people coming in. There's a good knock-up though. They still get the ultimate off of Lissandra as well. They're trying to go on top of this. XJ going to play Disengage. They burn a lot of summoners from the side of Ferocity, but they don't get anything off of it. And that was just honestly a good rotation.
And again, this is what I was talking about in the pre-game lobby. You need to make sure that you time the Frozen Claw so that basically Boobs can't just immediately monsoon you out. Because as soon as that went down, the Disengage was there, and then you had the Rek'Sai just to be certain they were getting out. But chances are, even without the Rek'Sai, they would have just walked out of that one. So again, basically Boobs in this Janet, this should be something they look to ban in the next game, because able to disengage so effectively. And it's not even that they're engaging wrong, it's that they just can't make it work. Okay.
Nicely done. Chaos Storm goes down though, and Curtis going to be going down. It's going to be a 1-for-1 trade in the end. They're going to give this one over to Lissandra. Realistically though, Curtis with a fantastic explosive cast. Wolfie should not have gotten a kill out of that.
Yeah, just sitting right in the center of all of his damage. I don't think he expected the amount of burst coming through, but he hasn't got any resistances. He's only got Runic Echoes and Swifties, so...
Runic Echoes on the Gragas?
Yes, always.
No, I don't agree with that.
No one has ever built Cinderhulk in the pros. Yeah. Literally no one is building it.
Why though?
Because Runic Echoes gives you the mana sustain you want in the
jungle.
jungle.
God.
Plus a bit of... Okay, wait a
Ember
second.
might be forced to flash. Subjugate's still yet to go down, but... He's the Dredge line, going to be forced away, has got TV to get back
Runic
into the
Echoes,
lane.
Gragas has been the standard for when Runic Echoes tanks were a thing, but he continues with the Runic Echoes now, because without it you don't have the mana sustain to continue your clear effectively, and it gives you that little bit of an edge in damage in your ganks, plus that little bit of move speed is nice for you as Gragas. On top of that, Cinderhulk isn't the most cost-effective item in the world until like late game, so early on you definitely want that Runic Echoes. Maybe if you have 6 items and the game really extends, you could swap it out for Cinderhulk, but Runic Echoes is definitely what you want until at least 5 items.
I would agree with you, but at the same time, he probably wouldn't have died if he had Cinderhulk.
He wouldn't have done any damage if he had Cinderhulk.
But that's true, but he didn't need to. The rest of his team was coming in. But Dragon is now live. We're going to see Ferocity setting up for that. It is an Ocean Drake, which will be, again, not the most important Drake in the world. It's more of an early game kind of, he poked down and siege. But if they want to go for it, or they want to go for XJ, who gets chunked out a slight bit. Let's see what they want to do. TP wasn't used by Ember, so both TPs will be available for both sides. You see now Curtis going in. Great explosive cast. They're going to jump onto Bloodraven. He gets chunked out straight away. That's a Dredge line. It's going to be knocked away, though, basically boost. That's a great Chaos Storm on top of 3, just chunking everybody down. Esperboss forced to flash away as he was on the back line by himself. Wolfie trying to get on top of him, but he's not really going to be able to do anything. No one goes down, but that is most certainly going to be the Dragon for Ferocity.
And it was a really good fight and engage. They couldn't quite get the explosive cast at the right angle and knock them into them. Then they all backed off, even though Esperboss was still TPing in. So once that happened, Esperboss had to flash away, and basically, if his team had communicated it properly, he should have cancelled his TP because he was left completely isolated in a fight they might have been able to win, but the Chaos Storm with the Rylai's is what really cost him that fight.
Yeah, very, very strong. And it was just on top of 3 people. You saw how much it choked everybody down. People went from like 7/8 health to like below half in like 3 seconds. It was incredible how much damage it did.
And the big thing is when it was changed to tick damage, the fact is the Rylai's slow persists throughout, which is why you saw they weren't able to disengage it in time and got so junked. And here we go.
Pukang gonna get knocked up. The only one really, but that's not the one they wanted. They popped the exhaust down on top of him as well. They're still pushing down this bot lane. Curtis is off to the side. He is found by a ward though, so he's gonna have to back away. So pressure still with Ferocity. It's only about a 1,500 gold lead. I feel like, as you said, if they had just coordinated that team fight from Sleeping a little bit better, they might have been able to do something. But right now, Nautilus going for the Abyssal Scepter, I think.
Oh,
Bit of
wait
a-
a second. That might be... Yeah,
I think that's Abyssal.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's an Abyssal Scepter, but that's not what you want when you're going against Esper Boss, who's just going ham on top of this Nautilus, forcing the ultimate out. And realistically, there's not really a huge amount Ember can do. There's just
and
too
this is what I
much
was
to
talking about.
stay.
You want that little bit of damage on the Trundle. You have that Sheen now, which is going to build towards the Iceborne Gauntlet. And you can see just that little edge in damage is enough to completely turn these trades.
I'm very, very curious as to why they're going Abyssal Scepter. If you want to go an Abyssal Scepter, I would honestly say it's much better off on the Victor than on the Nautilus. Nautilus just needs to go full tank, build into a Spirit Visage or even Banshees.
It's an item that's been built a few times on him. Personally would prefer, as you said, the Spirit Visage or even the Banshees, but can get away with it and still is decent. Like the MR on it was buffed, so it's like 60 AP, 60 MR, so it's actually a handy defensive item, but again, without the health to really manage it, mightn't work out for him. As you can see, he's going to continue to lose this lane, but will be effective in these team fights. I was saying...
Has no boots.
Yeah, I was thought if you want to build something similar, would have expected the Banner of Command.
Yeah.
You could have sent that into lane, but without any magic damage being their big source of wave clear, I suppose it's not really that worth it. Here we go. They might actually try to fight this one. No.
They might try and fight this one. X-Shade is going to come in. Oh, they will kill the turret before the TP is able to come through, and now this is a true 2v3. As we see now, good disengage from Pukang as Curtis comes in to defend his carries. They may look for a re-engage. Nice ultimate from the Janna means that they just completely thwart any kind of re-engage on top of that. But that was a really, really poor teleport from Kevlar, meaning that he just completely did not get any kind of, time to TP in there. And it was honestly never going to get in on time anyway.
Yeah, should have gone to the minions that had just come up, but wasn't in time to do that. Tried to TP to the tower, but again, the timing was just off. And here's Wolf.
Wolfie getting knocked back into the tower. Oh, the combo of the ultimates. Fantastic. Sleeping, showing the coordination. Wolfie just completely overextended. There is so little wards on that red or the blue side jungle towards the top side. That was just greedy. He should not have been up that far.
Yeah, and as he was saying in the pre-game lobby, after that one, he will need painkillers.
Maybe a little bit painkillers, but Abyssal Scepter finished off for the Nautilus, and it's not going to help him in this split push, kind of style that they're going for the side of Sleeping. They're going to lose this tower, I think, for the side of Sleeping. That's going to be their first tower of the game. Get themselves some gold back, and honestly, given everything considered, they're still not that far behind. They're only about 500 gold despite being 2 towers down and 2 dragons and a kill. So right now, you've got to feel like Sleeping are feeling a little bit more confident.
Yeah, and they can definitely continue pumping out damage. This is what I was saying. The power of their comp is they have these hard engages with the Lysandra, with the Gragas, and they're making them work now. Good explosive casts that we're seeing, followed up with good synergy between the mid and jungle. So Lysandra and Gragas doing their job well. Even in the ones they lost, like around that dragon, if they'd just gotten the explosive cast slightly better, could have gone completely differently. But basically, Boob's doing, honestly, probably the most amount of work for her team here, just making sure they consistently survive most of these fights.
Yeah, I think we've called it once or twice, but I think basically Boobs needs to be banned off this Janna. They need to get rid of it. If they were going against a Maokai, yes, Maokai is super, super strong. We did see him 1v4 and not die yesterday, but it's going to be the exact same as a Nautilus. You're just going to have, that bit of engage. It's obviously a little bit more secure with the Twisted Advance. It's point and click. But if you're going out with the Trundle, Esper Boss can deal with that. It's not a huge issue for him. So maybe just, swap out the Maokai ban, put in the Janna ban, put basically Boobs into someone who, because as I said in the pre-game lobby, there is only 2 disengaged champions in the entire game. Gragas and Janna. That's kind of it, really. So if you can pick up the Gragas and get away from the Janna, you can have a lot more movements. You see now, ooh, Ember Gonna get caught out a little bit. There's only tanks though right here, and Curtis getting caught out. There comes a lot of damage. TP coming off on the side, but they need to cancel it immediately. They did not need to engage on that. That was 2 tanks with no damage trying to find something.
And this is what I was talking about the pre-game lobby with the AoE CC from these guys. Cutting the choke point on top of the gravity field, they were just able to consistently knock them up. I don't think they got any damage through towards the end there, so...
And it was onto Xshay as well, which was really strange. Or not Xshay, sorry, Ember. You're the tankiest member on the opposite team.
I didn't think... Okay, wait a second.
Oh, here we go. It's going to be Jack X nearly going down. Good Frozen Tomb, but it's a great hook on the Kevlar. He's going to end up going down. Eventually, the ace in the hole picks him up. Tower goes down. Esper Boss has only joined the fight now, but it's going to be an inhibitor turret straight off the bat, and it was honestly off of a poor engage from the side of Sleeping. They're going to lose so much for that.
They could fight it now. Let's see what happens.
Oh, good disengage there, trying to keep going onto it, but Ember tanking up all the damage. The gravity field goes down to zone everybody off, but Esper Boss is onto the backside. Great explosive cast, puts Wolfie right in the face of everybody. Bloodraven trying to put down DPS. He's not quite able to get everybody around. Curtis, though, trying to get himself around. Bloodraven was untouched. Will they go for him again? Jack is still alive. Maybe go for something. Good disengage there from Bloodraven. He has got some pretty big items. The IE and the I completely forgot the name of the item is. Runans. I was going to call it Ravenous Hydra, and I was just like, that's completely wrong. But good disengage. They still lose an inhibitor and a couple of kills off the back of it, and they're going to lose another Mountain Drake, which means that for us, you're going to be that little bit more, better at sieging again.
Yeah, and we saw the power of that siege there just when they took out the tower pretty much immediately. As soon as they managed to get a push, that's going to be tower after tower. And with those 2 Mountain Drakes as well, and a third one coming up, this could be huge for them in terms of Baron fights. They could simply just run at them, and if they're even slightly mispositioned on the side of Sleep, and they can just run down that Baron. They don't want to leave that as an opportunity though. They're going to go straight for it themselves, and they might actually pick this up before anyone can respond.
You might do, but they're not taking it down very quickly at all. They don't really have the consistent damage to go for it. They have a ward in the back of the pit. Ember has a TP available. They will be able to go on top of this as well if they really want to. Baron down to about 2,500. Now we see Xshay coming in. They need to focus on the Baron. They need to try and take it out as quick as possible. It's not quite gone down just yet. They may still go for it. They do get the Baron, but at what cost? Everyone needs to get the hell out of Dodge. Curtis, just run, fat man. Run, fat man. You can get out, I believe. You can do it. You can do it. Ember, though, going to be on the backside, so they're going to be losing so many people on the top of that. Ember, though, might go down himself as we see the turret just taking up so much damage. He leaves him for dead as he jumps on the Bloodraven, but he ends up getting nobody. Should have focused down the Nautilus and get something out of that. But in the end, they only lose 2 of those Baron buffs off of 2 non-prime members, so it's not the biggest loss, but what can Frosty do off the back of that?
Yeah, that feels like something similar to what we saw earlier with the Sivir team calls, where they all just saw the Baron go down, started screaming, and went, okay, let's just try engage it. Just didn't seem as coordinated as they had been previously. Ember almost getting himself killed, Bloodraven doing similar things, and just with the Baron going over in favor of Sleeping, it was a good, quick map rotation that Ferocity were not prepared for.
Yeah, and that tower is taking a lot of punishment now in that bot lane. It's probably going to go down. Nobody really around to try and counter that, and that's... It's going to be close, though. There's a lot of minions. They actually should be all right. And then they got Sivir.
Sivir's nice in the sense that she's one of the few things that can wave clear as an AD champion just naturally through her own kit. So taking that out very quickly. Has also the static Shiv as well, so very quickly removes those waves from the equation.
Nearly 30 minutes into the game, Ember has not bought boots.
Well, I mean...
Not that he necessarily needs them, but it's just strange.
It's weird to see Nautilus run fast.
Yeah.
It's like...
He doesn't really run, he just kind of, bobs.
Well, it's Astra Nautilus. He's just trying, really get the skin going. Just the old moonwalk thing.
But then he'd be going backwards. It's the moonwalk.
No, that's...
That'd be really...
What was that thing I saw? Someone posted something similar. That's like, NASA must be really annoyed that whenever you look at moonwalk, all you get is pictures of Michael Jackson.
That is true, actually. But turrets going down, though, so they are going to use the Baron buff to pick up at least 1. It's only 3,000 gold, but Ferocity still feel like they were in a lot stronger position than anyone else in this team because they just have so much dragons. As you said, that the dragons are so good at the fact that they have such long-range siege with the Caitlyn. They take these towers just like that. Yeah,
and also managing to lose the Baron as well while you have so many Mountain Drakes is actually really disappointing for this Ferocity side, but Sleeping capitalizing on just unfortunate backing times from Ferocity, a bit of an overextension for that inhibitor, and they still didn't actually get that inhibitor, so Sleeping really doing well in terms of just holding out their defensive line.
Yeah, I'm sure we can all hear them shouting, and we're going to figure out what they're shouting about in about 3 minutes. So it'll be fine. But very, very interesting enough, as they said, like the Mountain Drake, the naked inhibitor is actually such a weird thing in League of Legends. Yes, you took down an inhibitor turret. Yes, you technically cracked the base. But it's really funny because you very rarely see teams committing to that naked inhibitor unless they have a huge advantage like a Baron, or they get an Elder Drake or something like that, or a 2 kills or something like that. They, even despite without a tower, they just don't go for it. And it's a weird mentality of like kind of, you know, teams that they don't do that.
Well, the issue with that is when you go for the inhibitor, you are in this choke point. You're forced into a choke point where the enemy team can generally, unless they've gone some dreadful team comp, can completely capitalize on that and CC you up and win these fights very effectively. So that's why they tend not to go for them until they have a numbers advantage. They want to make sure they can win that inevitable fight at the choke point.
Baron buff just about to wear off though, as they're going to try and defend this last tower. There's a couple of wards just behind Ferocity. They will be able to take this one. They trade turrets, one on the top side, one on the bot side, but there is no TP onto Ember. This is actually a huge misplay by Ferocity. If they get engaged upon, they are really, really going to be screwed. But they're going to back away. They're all right for now, but that's actually a huge misplay. If they got caught in that very moment, Ember could not join that fight. Ember was completely isolated from the team. They probably would have went down.
Yeah, they were just putting all their eggs in the old Janna basket, being like, yeah, you got us, right? We can
you
do
got
whatever.
that 2 disengage spells, right? Oh, Wolfie. This is so dodgy right now. They don't really have enough people around, and I feel like the lack of vision there from the side of Sleeping meant that they couldn't really fully engage onto Wolfie there. But maybe they might go for something. All summoners are pretty much up for both sides. The only one that's really missing is Jack. He hasn't got his flash, so let's see what they want to go for. Blast Dragon will be a Mountain Drake. It's up in less than a minute. This is actually going to be pretty damn good. Wolfie might have got himself caught. Pops down the gravity field. And that's going to be a cooldown down. Gets himself out. But again, nobody really there to support him. He needs to be so careful with them.
Yeah, these guys are playing very tentatively now. You can feel like it's getting towards that mid-game where if you do go down, that could well be the game. So no one wanted to lose a massive team fight. And you can see that both teams giving each other the respect they deserve. Both comps playing very well. So expecting to see an explosive team fight to finish this one.
An explosive team fight that might be started by the one misplay, and some fantastic plays from both sides means they've kept themselves relevant. And they've really picked really good teams. So Nautilus has finally built boots. We're there, boys. And let's see, they might fight over this dragon. This could be it. Great pillar though onto Wolfie. Wolfie gets chunked out at the start of this fight, and that is a fantastic move there. Janna, what are you doing? There's nobody there to protect you, and they are completely putting out another great pillar. They're jumping on the 2 of them. That's going to be 3 kills for Sleeping. That's the dragon, and they can go straight bot lane, maybe even get an inhibitor off this. That was huge.
Yeah, they could go mid lane as well, but you saw that fight starting out with, as you were talking about, the one mistake. Wolfie walking too far forward. Janna was like, I'll try disengage the other side. Then ended up getting herself caught out, and without the Janna, Caitlyn was jumped on next, and they had no protection and just losing all the coordination they previously had. Sleeping capitalizing on that so effectively, and this is what we saw yesterday from Sleeping. As soon as the other team seemed slightly less coordinated, they just jumped on them and they continued snowballing that lead.
Yeah, they're going to push into this mid lane, try get that. People only down for another 10 seconds. So they only actually got a dragon off of it. They're going to be able to get one more turret, maybe rotate to the bot side. XJ just trying to clear off as much as he can. Ember going over to the side. This is actually a little bit of an overextension. There's a hook, only lands on the Curtis. They're going to back away. And that is not going to be anything except the dragon. Good team fight. Brings the gold to pretty much even, only about 1,000 gold, but at this stage of the game really means very little. Huge wave down in the bot side, going to be picked up by Bloodraven. So they actually don't get any towers off it. They just deny the triple Mountain Drake, which is still in itself a small victory.
Yeah, it's only a small victory though. As this Baron comes up, Ferocity are going to be set up for it. At least it's not up yet, and we don't see something similar to what happened that Sleeping did to Ferocity.
Ferocity is actually a really bad call from them. Bloodraven is not with them, one of their highest DPSs in the entire team. This is a 5v4 right now. Bloodraven is nowhere near this. They're forced to use the gravity field very early. Bloodraven still coming from the base. This is actually, again, another Baron dance. XJ just going to try and steal off that blue buff. Zoni coming in. I think everybody could feel how intense this game is because right now, there's Riot. Right now, everybody kind of coming in. Trundle, though, going to start off this fight. XJ, though, gets a nice double knockup. Good disengage, but they've jumped onto Wolfie. First one to go down is going to be Lissandra. Esper Boss going to be the next one to fall, though, as well, as he just drops on the backside. XJ doing great work onto the back line of Sleeping, meaning they're going to be able to disengage, though. May just turn and burn for the Giant. Good Dredgeline going to jump on the Curtis, trying to get away, not quite. 3 for nothing. They're going to turn onto this Baron, pick that one up. Definitely a bit of a scrappy engage from Sleeping. They get punished for it.
Yeah, and you had the 2 frontline tanks going straight into the back line. Didn't manage to chunk them out. The Lysandra attempting to as well. And you see just the Mountain Drake immediately takes that down. But yeah, you see both of them trying to take down the Caitlyn. Once the Janna disengaged though, and they didn't get those kills, it was complete carnage from Ferocity. They completely destroyed that fight and comfortably take the Baron and should turn onto that inhibitor now.
Very, very good ultimate there from basically Boobs. That she was, as soon as Lysandra went in, she was able to knock her away from her team and keep everybody from on her team from just keeping, keep her alive, basically. So very nicely done there. Very good team coordinated fight. And they're starting to kind of get to a point where they're a little bit bigger now. Esperball's still a big danger, though, to this back line. I feel like Sleeping, if they can get a good team fight, they may be able to go for something. But let's see what they want to do. It's still very even with this Baron buff.
Yeah, it's all to play for still.
This is only game 1.
Yeah.
Game 1, and we're having such a close game. And both sides, and this is the thing, despite having the Baron buff, Frosty had no waves pushing in their favor. The side wave control was pretty much by accident in favor of Sleeping. So they actually can't really push up with this Baron buff, so it's not really going to do much for them.
Yeah, I think it's just kind of extending the game out, giving them that little bit of an edge in gold. But as they're starting to approach that kind of 5-6 item level, it's going to mean that much less. Ember actually going to go down there, pick up that massive wave, Baron it up, and going to make it that much harder to clear. And looks like they're going to go for 0-4-1 split here. Leave Ember in the bot lane, pretty much just with that wave, try to take the tower, and just provide that little bit of extra pressure, because without the Sivir, they'll struggle to clear these Baron waves.
Yeah, the Sivir is very much needed. There's a huge wave for this Nautilus as well, so he's going to be pushing that in. There he is with his little army of minions just going in. And honestly, he's going to be able to pretty much take it. They need to go for an engage now or never. They will lose an inhibitor turret and an inhibitor if they're not going to be decisive. They're going to definitely lose the inhibitor. Goes down, that's the first one to fall. They lose the inhibitor turret, but this could be the fight. Esper Boss might have gone caught out. That's a great flash in. They're going to use a disengage, don't see them keep going. As of this XJ though, caught on the backside, going to be able to get completely chunked out. Lysandra going in, good explosive cast. They've caught onto the carries. That's going to be Wolfie going down. Eventually, Esper Boss the next one to follow. Braum is the next one to go down as well. The Chaos Storm did go down. It's still 3 for 1 right now. Triple kill for Bloodraven. They're going to keep pushing on top of this, but while that was all happening, everyone going to push into the base. That's pretty much going to be the first game going of Ferocity with the Baron buff. They're just too strong.
And they almost lost that fight off the back. Ember hooked a minion once you got the flash knockup from Rek'Sai. That was supposed to be the follow-up. Ended up just going in with the dredge line anyway and managing to get into the rest of the fight. And they end up taking that one comfortably. Just very well played from both sides. Sleeping putting up a good fight, so we could see that again coming out next time. So that's only game 1, guys. Stick with us.
Yeah, we'll be back in 5 minutes for game 2, guys. We'll be back very, very soon. Talk to you then.